Everyone, Dave Greco here again, and welcome to the next installment in our concept art series. And basically, I'm just going to start where we left off on the previous video. If you haven't seen that one, definitely go back and check it out where we started like a real preliminary sketch where I may go in this process. And so I've read your guys' comments so far, kind of ideas you guys have had. I grabbed a couple of quick pieces of reference just to kind of get my bearings straight. And this is the stage where I'm going to start doing more of like a clean line drawing. Let's actually figure out what this guy is. And so you guys actually had some like really cool ideas about making him more like a lion character. There was some stuff for like rats or lions or that kind of stuff, and I think the lion thing would actually be pretty awesome. So basically, what I want to do is I'm just going to put a whole layer here, drop the opacity, and kind of knock it down. And let me grab like a little brush tool here. This pencil tool right here is not in my brush pack. I can only offer so much in my brush pack. Some of these are other artist pens that I have bought before from other artists, so I can't offer those for free, but there's so many great artist tools out there, so feel free to search around. But this one I've always liked for kind of sketching. So I found some cool like lion portraits. Although sometimes this brush can act a little funky, but we'll make it work. So I want to kind of redo out a face here. Figure out all these new shapes. Let me check on the image size here. Okay, it's still fine. And we could say it's still pretty loose, but I'm kind of like I'm more focused on the piece as a whole. I still like this kind of lion type sci-fi explorer. You know, I think would be really cool. So I'll pull just a bunch of like line reference. We can kind of just block some shapes in for his face. And just see how it goes. This may actually be a little bit longer video. I'd like to get a full line drawing. I mean a full concept drawing done for this piece. So I slow my hand down a little bit. I really want to think more about all the shapes and all that stuff as we work on this one. So it may take a little bit longer. This brush can be a little bulky, but I think it's all right. I think it's a good idea even when you get like an animal creature to get, even if you put it in their fur pattern, to get some type of eyebrows in there, you know? I think you get so much personality in a character's face by drawing their eyebrows. You look at like a lot of like Disney movies and stuff like that. It's usually kind of like human pupils and eyebrows because you can get so much expression in there. I think it's important. All right. So I've been putting no music to these videos too. Like feel free to kind of just pop your own music on, however you want to do it. Maybe we'll curve out his ears a little bit more if he's more of like a lion. I still want to kind of like put his hair pretty wavy. So yeah, like Pez Lopez had some great suggestions on the comments below. He gave him like a character name and some suggestions for stuff, which is always cool. I like having like a little bit of direction with these characters. There may be a couple of skips in the video. I may take like a couple of pauses for a break. Sometimes could rest my eyes, but so it won't be totally one sitting session, but it should be one continuous video for you guys. We may do like less of these little pipe things. We'll have to see what we end up wanting to do. We can just play with it. Or this kind of like space armor is, we can start to kind of figure out some plates of it and how these shapes might look at work. I still think it would be cool to have this like large shape over here. That's why I think having these messy under drawings can help quite a bit. Like you can use a lot of these shapes to inform some other parts of the piece, right? Like whatever it may be. Man, it is hot in this office today. I am still going to try to paint and draw a little faster than I normally would, just so. A concept, I might spend like 2 days at my studio to work on something like this, but that's quite a bit of time. That'd be like a 16-hour or 15-hour video for this. So we're going to try to go through the process as fast as possible. I may take this front tube off. I mean, I don't mind it coming down the side here, but maybe we'll attach it down here or something. We also have this idea of fur and stuff. Like we're still finding shapes we like. Like I go through a couple stages of messiness, you know, to really figure this all out. We don't get bogged down too much. Like, you know, I could spend way more time working the face, and we'll get to that. You know, I think like most artists, working on the face is usually a favorite of mine. We'll get there. Oh, we'll get there. But your guys' comments and questions on the channel lately have been fantastic. I'm glad any of this is helping at all. I think it's just good to see. I love watching other artists process, you know. I think you can always pick up a couple things from every artist you watch, you know. Like my way is definitely, I would never say the right way, or it works for what I do. And I'm always looking to change my process and evolve my process, and I think most of the artists probably do the same. So we did have kind of like these big arm gauntlet things. Maybe we can try to keep these a little circular. Maybe these can be like little lights or something that kind of, who knows. Not entirely sure yet. Sometimes I go with the shape and look first, and then we can figure out kind of some function later. There's some great ideas for like weapons and gear he could have, which we can add in eventually for sure. So he's a little crooked. I think if I skew this line drawing on top of it, it's going to kind of get too confusing. We could just paste out this whole thing here. Really doesn't matter to me. I don't mind the messiness. I kind of paint over everything regardless. I'll just make a new layer here because, you know, I gotta make like 1,000 layers. Doesn't feel right if I don't. And like a lot of people have asked about like my layers and stuff, and it doesn't really matter how many layers you make. I squash them all down. I merge them down. I just usually just when I tackle like a new piece of line work or something, I'll drop a new layer in, just in case the weird chance I want to just zip it out. But So just kind of wandering around the piece. So this video will probably gonna be like, I'd say like 4 parts probably. We'll just see. We're gonna get like a clean line drawing and a solid direction. That'd be good for this week's video. And then next week we can start adding value and color, which is probably what most people are waiting to see, but we'll get there. Small steps, you know. Let's see here. Especially with like these kind of like mech spacesuit things, you can kind of gibberish a lot of it up. Especially for now, it's kind of just a lot of weird lines and angles, and so especially with like animal characters, there's a lot of decisions you can make. I've had to figure out in the past is like, you know, how many fingers do they get? Do they have this kind of like bowed out legs where it's like, you know, the knee, it comes down and then like arcs back and then comes forward again, you know? Which for this character, I'm not sure what we want to do. We could give him like just normal kind of human legs. But they may look weird too. We could try both because he's got pretty short legs. I guess his knee is here. It's a good thing to try to figure out. It's like, especially if this ever was to go to a modeler, they would send angry emails to me if I didn't figure it out. And that has happened. It's hard to keep them happy all the time. Oh, I forgot his hands actually here. His fist. So if he's a lion, I guess he wouldn't have this kind of like rat tail. Well, he's not like a real lion. We can still keep this thing furry. And we're not like locked in anything. It's not like has to be a straight. We can make it a little bushy though. All right. Here we go. So just kind of wandering around a bit. All right. Save this up. Okay. Let's try to flesh out some more of these shapes a little bit. Kind of give them a little bit more of a bicep here. I don't know how jacked these line people get, but and kind of the top of his forearm here. I think it would be cool if we had it so like he was kind of holding some type of lance or something. Like if he had like a you know, like a space lance, whatever that might be. Back if it could come out back here somewhere. Some type of thing that kind of hangs off the back, who knows? Could be kind of neat. All right. feel like we've done a little bit of work on this kind of stage. We can figure out some more stuff we might want to clean up. Maybe we'll add like a little bit more armor on this. Probably won't have like so much exposed shoulder. So we'll kind of bring that down the other side as well. I wonder if looking at it like, well, I thought maybe his head might look too small, but it may not. Like, he's got quite a bit of armor on. Oh my god. Thank you, Photoshop. That's not what we're going for here. Let's grab this again without it going bananas on me. We could try and make it like a tiny bit bigger. Because he definitely has some like bulked out arms, and they're pretty pushed out quite a bit here. They could be pushed out too much. Like what we might do is take this. So I kind of like copy little sections around and kind of move it. Maybe we can bring his shoulder a little bit in. Then we'll reconnect all these lines. There we go. This guy could have like a pretty cool look though, kind of like the idea that we're going for so far with this guy. I think it's actually pretty neat. It's actually more interesting of a character now than I think it was I was previously planning. So your guys' feedback has been amazing. I think it's really, really cool. I'm gonna just flip the canvas here. And maybe his forearm. Now this might be like too crazy and too angled. You know, maybe it's just like it could be too much. Let's just grab that. We'll clean this area up. I was trying to look at this whole piece at the same time here. I'll make sure shapes kind of work well together. And I think a big thing to look at while I'm doing this is that the whole silhouette looks nice. Like certain shapes break out from other ones, you know what I mean? So there we go. I try to see where this leg actually is now. There's a bunch of, so I don't want him to look like he's got this like weird stub leg coming from underneath. Like I said, it might be weird that his legs are so small. I don't know. We can determine that later. This is also just kind of an example too. It's not like this is going to an actual client. We can just do what we want with it. This is more kind of like thought process and how I go about my production. There we go. Okay. There it is. All right, save this up. Try to mirror some of this stuff over here. Like his arm gauntlets are really large on his right side, so you could possibly make these a little bigger. All right. So let me flatten all this down. So we kind of have what we've changed from. So this is a sketch we just started with. So I think we've made like a good progression into like a more refined version, right? So it's feeling a lot better. And so from here, I wanted to actually kind of do the same thing we did before. It's kind of a long process because I sometimes you're sketching the same stuff over and over, but it works for me to kind of slowly evolve the piece and figure out what I want to do. So I want to get a lot cleaner. I'm just back to my DG main brush now. We can actually figure out some shapes. I'm actually going to make this piece a little bit larger. I think we can put this up to... There we go. That should be okay. I'm going to push this up to 300 dpi. I just know when I get in pretty close, we can get some good details on them. I just want to find some nice eye shapes and all these little details. So if we can get a clean line drawing today, I think that'll set us up perfectly for knocking out some quick value and color in next week's. Like I said, try and keep these, I know people don't mind long ones, but I want to keep them at like a reasonable length, you know what I mean? And we'll figure out kind of like where we want his pupils to be. We won't go like total animal eye, you know. You can actually, I'm gonna shift this over a tiny bit here like this. I'm still looking at some reference, kind of looking at some line faces and all that kind of stuff. I'm also giving it kind of like my spin and a little personality into it as well. Like how lined do we want to go with it and all that kind of stuff. Where does his hair actually fall? Or I'm always designing as we go, right? We'll figure out some more little designs to it. Let's see, we're gonna put the ears, these are little shapes. Finding that mix between what makes it look like some human qualities and animal qualities. I'm still staying still pretty loose. I don't want to get so rigid that we start losing personality of the piece. Some of these I'm just kind of following the directions so we can see it better. Maybe we can have some people we might be kind of looking this way. I can already tell I kind of want to skew some parts of his head here. Maybe we'll use the warp tool and kind of pull some of this a little bit. There we go, clean up some of that shape. Make sure it works both directions. There we go. So I might just keep my head down for a little bit here. Just kind of paint. I'll throw some commentary in when I can, but usually this kind of stage, it's kind of just spending some time to figure out how this is all going to work. Like most of the time, I really don't know. I kind of just make it up as we go. Find shapes that I like. Get rid of shapes that I don't. There we go. We'll add all the scratch and details later too, especially when we start actual painting the piece. Let's just get in all these kind of base forms. There we go. Sorry, I keep saying there we go, like I found some like buried treasure. Kind of just creating some darker lines in areas that might feel like it has a little more depth and weight to certain parts. You kind of just feel it as we go. It might actually help determine some shadow areas. We can add like a little bit of our values to this as we go, as we're doing this line, just to help us read some areas better, like, you know, some dark areas under here, maybe some parts of his nose. Just sketching some of these lines. And same thing as the rest of it. We're just gonna kind of move around the piece, try to clean up some things. A lot of these details we're gonna figure out just as we paint it, you know. Let the color and everything determine quite a bit for us. But every stage is just like a small kind of learn process for me. could have some like little pouches and stuff on the side. Gotta have some pouches, you know. He's just gonna have like some type of fist or something right now. So we figure out his hands later. Same with this. We'll just kind of have kind of a closed fist around the spear. Again, you guys have had really, really awesome ideas and suggestions so far. I'll have to figure out some more details for what we're gonna do for these feet. So I definitely want to get them to feel right. Maybe we'll put like a little circle thing on the front here. This line work right here is like a little looser, but it's okay. I don't need to. I end up erasing a lot of this line as we paint, so I don't want to spend like an insane amount of time figuring it out, you know. This can be like some type of design on here or something, you know. You know, it's just finding shapes we like. It's always hard to play with. Maybe, whoops. Maybe he's got some more kind of like straps on this arm. Or no, I can just see how like noisy things become, and I always want things to be like pretty clean and reading pretty well. There we go. Let's get some of his tail down. He's got this kind of like little piece of armor on his tail, just so it's got something. Let's just get some of these ground and space rocks, and you don't always have to do this. It's just something I've been throwing on pieces lately. I kind of like having these little grounded elements, you know. It's just pretty loose. And when we end up doing this whole kind of spear halberd thing, we'll make it, I want to make it look like pretty, like a high-tech one, you know. I don't want to look like he's got some old Roman spear or something, so we might figure out some other like attachments to it, you know. It's a space spear. You can throw it like 3 football fields. You know, maybe this just be more straight. With these little things on it. Just kind of defining more of this silhouette up here. I kind of like this one back here. You know, I don't want to like just outline edge the whole thing, but we're gonna be painting through over most of it anyway. It's got his little crotch guard here. Go pretty dark with his eyes. He has some battle scars. He could have like a cut in his hair all the way up here. You know, he could have like this kind of cape over one shoulder back here. And then he just kind of hangs down on the ground back here. Might be something, you know. Might be alright. Like, any of this could still change. Like, we're still not married to anything, which is great, you know. And then it's got this, like, circular clip for it. And this looks like this clips something back here. We could have, like, a little bit of the cape showing. I don't know. But we might want to keep that negative space in between his hip and all that. We'll have to see. Does he have like a vein that runs down his biceps? Is he that jacked? Anyway, this is about the stage where I would start blocking in value. And then once we start blocking in value, it's real quick to start jamming into some color. So what I may do is, I know that a lot of this has been real time. Next time, let's start with the value, start doing color, and then I may start doing some time lapse of the color. It's a color, if we really want to get this thing polished, after I get to a certain stage, I want to put like a few hours into it, and I don't want these to be crazy long. So let's just see how it goes. But yeah, I think this is like a good next step that we want to do, right? Like, we started with this today, so we started with initial design, and then we've slowly crept our way with some refinement to all this right here, which I think is going in a much better direction. There's more interesting details, but we still have to go in and like, let's figure out what the gauntlets actually look like. Let's figure out what the shoulder looks like. How does this top chest piece connect? What color is his armor? There's a lot of cool exploration to do. We can do some like nice grading color behind him. Maybe he looks too passive, not too angry enough. Maybe we want more happy. I don't know. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out as always. And I should have the next video out next week. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Bye.